Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Scott Paul Johnson, and this is kind of a new series I'm starting, or at least a thing I do, called Let's Write Music. And my goal here is to sort of bridge the gap between music theory on paper and then actually making stuff with your guitar. And today what I'm going to use is I've got a MIDI controller that this doesn't have any built-in sounds. I just use it to put like drums, mainly drums, in my recording software, and sometimes like keyboard or other little MIDI instruments. And then I'm going to use my guitar. This is my little Frankenstein 70s thing. And then, of course, I don't know why I said of course. Maybe you don't know this. I'm going to record some bass as well. On this thing, and we'll see where we go from here. When I posted this, when I basically scheduled this like a couple hours ago, I got a comment from someone named Alex who said, I'd love to learn how to write a song from a riff, like when I'm just noodling around and play something catchy. Where do I go from there? How do I build around it using theory? Love these streams. Thanks, Alex. I guess that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to try to write a riff, and then we'll see if we can turn that riff into a whole song somehow. A little kind of stone soup situation. Part of the reason I'm going live, too, is I love live streaming. And I do this every week over on my online school, except on Thursdays at 10 a.m. I do a live Q&A for all my patrons where you can ask me any question you want, and I will spend 10, 15, 20, sometimes half an hour on it if it's a question that really needs that much work. And then I've been doing a lot of live lessons lately while I work on, some more videos for my huge library of lessons. I've got over 200 lessons on my Patreon right now about basically what I'm doing today. All the skills, or nearly all the skills you need. I'm still working on it, but how to take music theory, the basic concepts, and turn them into actual fun music that you get excited to listen to and have fun making. So today I'm going to start with a riff, but we still got to pick a key to play that riff. And so maybe what I'll do is I'll go over to my camera guitar here, and I'm going to unmute it and make sure I have a pick. Hello, scene 2 here. And I'm going to pop over here. And usually when people think about riffs, they think about whoa, that's never happened before. They think about like a pentatonic riff. And I think maybe what I want to do here is, let's just pick the key, the classic key of A minor. Although now it looks like my dots just fell apart. Let's see here. We got, they should be working just fine. There we go, A. So, if we put our root note on A and we play our classic pentatonic scale here, we can start here. We can write a little riff, and let's see, what is an A pentatonic scale? We've got A, we've got C, we got E, or we got D, E, and then we've got G. And these are all the notes in an A minor pentatonic scale. So let's start by just kind of noodling around with a riff, and then if we like what we come up with, I'll scoot over to my recording software over here, hello, and then we will sort of try to turn it into a song. We'll see what happens. Hi Tommy, hi Arya, welcome. So let's see what happens. And maybe if we noodle around and we go, it's hard to make a riff in a vacuum, maybe we'll go play a drum beat first. But if we've got that little right? That's kind of fun. So what is that tempo? Let's do it. Let's do something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna forget it by the time we we make a drum beat here, but let's see. So if I take a software instrument here and I go make a little drum kit, we need like a garage. Ooh, that's very garagey. Yeah, let's see. That's kind of cool. So I've got this MIDI keyboard. I've got all the notes mapped out to a drum kit, and I could go. What is that tempo? Let's find out. That's definitely a slow tempo. So I'm gonna go in my software here, and I'm gonna find a metronome to play along with first. But one of the coolest things about MIDI is you don't have to play with perfect timing. You can fix it later. What is this tempo? That's a little fast. I think that's nice. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm actually gonna try to play this little sloshy hi-hat with the beat. 2, 3, 4. Great. And then here's the sneaky thing. Now you can go in and you can see my timing is not perfect, but it's pretty close. But since I want this drum beat to basically be my metronome for songwriting, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna hit quantize so that the timing is perfect. Most drummers don't have absolutely perfect timing, and it doesn't always sound good to have perfect timing. You want some things to be a little bit loose, makes it feel a little more human, but because we're just writing a song, I'm treating this drum beat like my metronome. So I want it to be perfect for now, because I don't want to have to go in and try to do a perfect take of drums, because the drums are our canvas and we need that canvas to be perfectly flat. So now I'm gonna play some kind of beat here. Let's see. I don't know, that's fine. That'll do the job. So what I just did here is, this is Logic Pro, by the way. It's my favorite recording software. I can't seem to get the hang of any other ones. And there's a shortcut for fixing the timing. I already fixed it with the button Q. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my electric guitar here, and hopefully it's still in tune, we'll see. What do we have? That's nice. Let's see how bad our... Oh yeah, we're gonna keep it on the middle position. This is my clean tone. It sounds like not very rock and roll, so we're gonna spice it up a little bit with an amp here. Oh, I should probably label it so people know what's going on later. And then... Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I see a question or two in the chat. Feel free to pile up some questions and I'll try to get to them once I take a break here. But let's get this riff going and see what we can do here. So I'm just gonna make, I'm gonna go in here to Amp Designer and I'm gonna find something with a little gain. Let's just see if this gives me the kind of gain that I need here. And what do we got? That's kind of fun. So let me, that might be dirty enough, but let's record a little bit and see what happens. So here's my riff. I got this A minor pentatonic. Let's see. 2, 3, 4. That's kind of fun. So here's what I'm thinking. the real trick with writing something catchy or writing a melody that feels like, oh, I'm going to remember that, is to think about phrases. And I have a video about this. Maybe you've seen it. It's called How to Solo Phrases. But the secret is this is how to do everything. So if my A phrase is... There you go. That's a great phrase. I'm going to call that my A phrase. So also I'm getting a lot of fun guitar noise, so I'm going to mute that for a sec here. So A phrase. And my go-to riff sort of idea here is to set up a form that is A, B, A, C. It's always a winner, but there's also so many other choices. So if my A phrase is this thing, then my B phrase, I want it to be similar, but not identical. Because I want my listener to go, oh, is he about to play the A phrase again? So if I do something like, or right, that's kind of cool. That sounded like it was gonna do the same thing, but then it went somewhere else. And then if I go back to the A phrase, my C phrase can be something totally different. And again, this you could do A, B, C, or you could do A, B, C, C, which is cool too. But my go-to that just it's a classic is A, B, A, C. So what I'm looking for is my A phrase, and then my B phrase, then back to A phrase, and then my C phrase. I want to do something totally different. I forgot to put the word different there, but that's the idea. And sorry, my guitar is making some funky noises. So instead of, to make my C phrase different, I think I want to do something where I'm going, instead of doing this thing, because this starts the A phrase and the B phrase. I could go something like that, right? So let's try this. I'll try to record that whole thing. Oh. And my timing's off there, so let me go to bed. I like that. Let me hear how I did it. That's kind of fun. I'm gonna try it again. I want to nail it a little bit better. It's a little sloppy, so I'm gonna try to do it not so sloppy. So let me try this again, and I'll just zoom in on the area here. Why not? There we go. That's good, right? There we go. 2, 3. Oh. So that's kind of fun. I think I'm gonna keep that. And let's see, where's that going? So now we got a riff. And here's the trick. How do we figure out some freaking chords to this thing now. Let's listen one more time. We got... So, let's go back to the camera guitar, and then maybe in a few minutes here, I'll pause and answer some questions that I see are coming up. But for now, let's go back over here to our pentatonic riff here. So, you can see that's all pentatonic. But here's the thing. Pentatonic scales are great to play, but on paper, music theory really just relies on full minor scales when you're figuring out chords and stuff. So the missing notes to make this a full scale would be B and an F. So it would be... So now we got to figure out what are the chords in the key of A minor. And hang on, I dropped some things. Yeah, live streaming. This is real. So, if we're in the key of the right button, if we're in the key of A minor, I have a hard time writing over this guitar, so it's going to be extra sloppy. The chords in the key of A minor are A minor, B half diminished, C major, D minor, E minor, F, and G. And this is what we would call natural minor. And if you want to know why those are the chords, it's pretty straightforward. On paper, it's a little harder to wrap your mind around if you've never thought about it before. But when you have a scale like this, the way you make the chords in a key is you just play every other note of the scale till you get 3 of them. And you just start on the first note of the scale, 1, 3, 5. That's our first chord, the 1 chord. It's called A minor. The 2 chord is made of the 2nd, 4th, and 6th note of the scale. The 3 chord is made of 3, 6, and 3, 5, and 7. I'm spacing all of a sudden. Sometimes watching my own guitar really freaks me out. But the idea here is you're just doing every other all the way up. See how that works? Isn't that cool? Oh, Alex, the reason we knew this was in A minor is because we chose an A minor pentatonic scale to start with. Always pick a key, or at least know what key you're in if you're writing a riff. That's how it helps. So, the chords in the key of A minor are A minor, B diminished, which it's easier to play a half diminished, and then a C major, and then a D minor, and then an E minor, an F, and a G. Now, the trick is you can't necessarily just play any of those chords that you want if you've already written a riff. This is where things get tricky. So what do we have? So this first riff, we've got, we're jumping from A to E, and then we're kind of doing this little pentatonic walk back to A. So all of that, all of these notes that we're jumping back and forth to, you can see they're mostly A minor notes like this. So that first chord, that first riff is going to sound pretty good over an A minor chord. Let me see if I'm right. And I have to set up a little sneaky thing so I can count in like this. So if we go like this. So A minor sounds pretty good over most of the thing here, but what about this second section? So this one's So because this second riff ends on a G, we could go to a G chord, or we could go to an E minor chord. So we could do this thing just for riff 1 and 2 here, or in other words, the A phrase and the B phrase. We could do something like this, where we go. And you hear how nice that sounds? It's because we're ending our riff on a G, and we're just trying to find a chord that has that G in it. And we could go C chord, or we could play a G chord, whichever one feels better there. And I think that should work on the second pass here. Let's see how that sounds. So we go second. It works the second time through as well. So basically what we have here is for our riff, we're just trying to figure out how to harmonize that riff with chords in the key. And if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, we kind of have this thing where we can do A minor, E minor, and then we kind of have this little, we figured out a chord progression that kind of works. And, you know, maybe we could tinker with other options. We could go to G instead, which might sound pretty cool. Let's see how that sounds. The G sounds all right too. So it could go either way, but I kind of like E minor because it's, I don't know, it's kind of fresh. So now here's the other thing. We could strum a whole bar chord, but we don't have to. We could do something interesting where we play just the bare essential notes that we need to play an A minor chord, which would be A, C, E. Here's another A. What is that? A, C, and E up here. And then a G chord is G, B, and D. So we could, instead of playing just raw bar chords, or I think I was going to play an E minor, wasn't I? So that would be E, G, and B. Very similar. Yeah, these are triads. Major and minor triads, Daniel. So if we did, let's come up with a little thing here. And maybe just for the sake of having it be easier to see the chords, we'll play a G, because the G is 3 separate notes. That's G, B, and D. And A minor is A, C, and E. So for the ease of you being able to see the chords, we'll make this a chord progression A minor and G instead of A minor and E minor. Sound good? Yeah? Cool. So I'm going to record something here. The idea here is I'm trying to tell a little chord story instead of just going. I want to tell a story by playing different voicings. So I might go. You see how that's a little bit more interesting? It is to me anyway. So Quentin says, so it's still an A minor chord even though A isn't the root note or the lowest note. So root note is the on paper part. That's how you figure out what the chord is. So A, C, and E, because we're basically playing every other note of the A minor scale starting on A. But once you figure that out, you can play any voicing you want. Here's a low E in the bass. We could do one with a C in the bass like this. Also an A minor chord, as long as you got those 3 notes. And also try to avoid these 2 strings because you want the bass player to be able to play the root note low. That really helps. But on guitar, if you're playing rhythm guitar in a band, you don't need to have the root note be your lowest note. Good question. Yes, Mark G, it's called an inversion or just a voicing, a different arrangement. But yeah, let me try to record some rhythm part here and see what happens. And maybe we'll get a little cleaner tone on this. Let's see what we can do here. So this was... So I'm gonna clean it up a little bit and take some of those mids out and have a little sparkly, reverby. Let's see if we can do, how's this sound? Sounds like nothing, because the track is an arm. There we go, how about this? That's nice. That's nice. A little slightly out of tune, but it'll be okay. It's a little too thin for me though, so I'm gonna just turn the gain up a little more. How about this? We're close. We're close. Taylor, thank you. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So, let me show you what I'm doing here. And this is one of my favorite sort of things to do, is to just find a more fun way to play chords rather than just bar chords. So, I might try being a little more sparse. I don't know. Yeah, let's try a little more sparse. 3, 4. That's kind of nice. It's yeah. So, what's funny about this is if I mute the riff, now we've got like a strumming pattern. We got something, it's coming together. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pause for a few minutes and I'm gonna answer your questions. It's like I can't talk tonight. So throw down some questions and I'll get right back to this. I think there's a couple other things I wanna tinker with before we move on, but we're gonna try to spread this into a verse. Maybe we'll come up with a chorus. Maybe this is the chorus. I don't know yet. We're gonna tinker with it and I'll try to walk you through what I'm thinking. But man, I really needed that sip of water. Dang. So, let me scroll up and check out some questions, and then I'll try to blast through these and see what we can do here. So, what are the questions here? Let me see. So, Chris Robison says, was that a Gibson ES-125T in the background hanging on the wall? This thing over here, this is one of my favorite little guitars. It is actually a ES-125T 3/4. So you're totally right, Chris. It's an ES-125, but it's a student model. It's got a 22.5-inch scale length, which is basically, it's like missing 2 frets here. And I love this thing. It's great. And I got it for cheap because the headstock was damaged at one point, and someone glued it back together. And I love beat up guitars. It's my favorite thing. Super cool. So let's see. Esteban Vivanco says, can you explain a little bit of the theory behind Yesterday by the Beatles? Greetings from Argentina. You are the best. Yeah, essentially, well, I don't want to get copyright stricken by the Beatles here, but essentially that song, it uses secondary dominance, and I've got some lessons about that on my Patreon. I actually do a song analysis of Yesterday by the Beatles. Great tune, very cool the way the chords go together. It's pretty fun. Oswin J says, can you do a BandLab tutorial of making a song? I don't use BandLab, so I don't think I could. But hey, maybe I'll have to learn how to use that. And then, let's see. Eli Merrill says, how did you make your guitar a stereo input? Because whenever I plug mine into my interface, it only comes out of one ear, so I end up just putting it in mono. So that is a little bit more of a DAW question. And DAW is just what these things are called, a DAW, a digital audio workspace. And the trick with creating a non-stereo input is actually, I'll show you. I created a new input, and my guitar is coming into input 1. Sometimes people can accidentally create a stereo input, and then their guitar is only going to come out of one ear. But it turns out your guitar doesn't create a stereo signal, so it can't actually be in stereo. Guitar is a mono instrument. Just that's the way it's designed. So what you have to do in your audio input is you have to put it in a mono input. The cool thing is the output of your software is stereo. So as long as you have that mono input, then you can have a stereo output, and you can actually pan it a little bit. I just panned my rhythm guitar to the left and my lead guitar to the right. But yeah, it's a mono instrument by design, so you can't really turn it into stereo, but you can listen to it coming out of both speakers by putting it into a mono input and then going output through your system here. Cool. And then Archnozak says, any advice on staying in time while playing with others and not confusing them? Yes. Well, so, Arachno, Zach, my question to you is, first of all, can you play along with just a drum set? Can you do that? And part of the trick here is if we can get a little bit philosophical for a second. Your goal when you're playing with a metronome or with someone else is not to sort of try to match your internal time with their internal time. It's almost like the way a starfish like spits out its stomach. You want to like just completely submit to their time and constantly try to align with them. And I guess that sounds like a weird thing to say, but what I mean is when I'm listening to this drum beat, let me see if I can actually have you hear me while I'm playing here. I can't, so I'm gonna have to record something, but essentially what you want to imagine is don't tap your foot, because tapping your foot makes your body feel like I'm the beat keeper. No, the drums are the beat keeper. So don't tap your foot, maybe bob your head. And then one cool thing you can practice is single notes or a scale is try to play right on the beat. And then try to play the tiniest bit late on purpose, and then try to be right back on time. And there's something about that. There's something about learning how to hesitate a little bit, where you're like, I'm gonna let the beat play, and then I'm gonna play a fraction of a second after, that can really teach your brain to pay closer attention to timing. But I just realized that's probably a concept I ought to talk about and have someone try for like 10 or 15 minutes. And that's just like a taste of it. If you want to understand that more, check out my Patreon and ask me about it on a live Q&A, and I'll dive way deeper on that for you. Yeah. Jesse Lee says, do you ever do fingerstyle? Yes, I do. What else? I love playing finger picking stuff. I mean, I got Chet Atkins on the wall over here, and you know, I used to play at farmers markets, and I would play. Oh. You know, whatever. A little sloppy today. That's how it is. Okay, I'm almost wrapping up questions here, and then I'm gonna have to save these questions for the next batch, because I gotta keep moving on with this song or it'll never get written. So, ask questions if you want, but I'm gonna get back to writing here. So where we last left off was this thing. So, there's a couple cool things to think about here. One is, just by writing chords to this, I've now kind of accidentally created a verse or a chorus. I don't know yet. We'll see. Because, hang on a sec. Let me throw down some bass and I'll show you why here. And of course, I gotta make sure my bass is in tune enough. This room gets hot and cold so easily. Ooh, that's nice and loud. So, I have some ideas here. I think I'm gonna let this be both. I'm gonna make it a better riff, I think, and a better verse. So, if I did something like this, where I doubled it with the bass, and I went. I don't remember the riff. Something like that. So if I were to double the riff like that, that would actually be a pretty sick intro, I think, even to have the rhythm guitar. Maybe it's nice with the rhythm guitar. Hang on, I gotta do some stuff to this bass to make me like it a little bit more. I'm actually gonna take a little low end off. I'm gonna throw a little compression on there. This is the quick and dirty, hope that's good enough kind of thing. That's doing it. And then I kind of want it to have a little bit more of a gritty, ampy kind of sound here. So I'm gonna see if I can do a little, ooh, let's see. That's nice. Okay. Sweet. So, let's see. So I'm gonna start by doubling the riff. And I think that's how the last. And I'll let you see what I'm doing here. Here we go. So we got 2, 3, 4. I think that's, I think I would like to actually end it that way. So what I have here is, I think I've got a nice intro. And I really like the doubled bass and riff, and it really makes the riff feel like this is the start of something. Right? But now what I can do is I can go, okay, well, this is the chord progression for some section. So if I, instead of playing the riff, yeah. Also, let's give this a little more grit. That's nice. So now what I can do is my bass can play an actual bass line instead of like mimicking the riff. And I've got something like this. Uh-oh. I've got nothing because you can't hear the track. There we go. Let's see what we got here. I don't know. So I'm getting there. I'm a little picky about exactly the story I want the bass to tell. And so I want it to just kind of hold down that A minor. Boom, boom, boom. But then I want it to do a little bit of a hell yeah. And then back. And then emphasize that E minor or the G. And then we're back. But I really like the little, and if you're wondering what I'm doing, basically for any bass line that I have with a minor chord, the easiest thing to do is to play root, fifth, and then root. But you can also include 7 back here, so. Right? And since we're only playing minor chords, I can mess around with. I don't know. We'll see. I just want to finesse it a little bit. I'm getting there too early. That's kind of cool. So now we've got a section, and if we listen to the first section going into the second section, I might do a little mixing to just make it sound a little better while we're going here, but I want to hear how these two sections sound together. So let's see here. I got some ideas already. So I think what I want to do, so part of what makes, in my opinion, what makes a song sort of sparkle and shine and what makes it feel less like some loops is to think about dynamics. And so dynamics are just the intensity, loudness, quietness, but also does it feel like you can kind of breathe in this section, and then this other section kind of makes things more intense. So I'm kind of feeling like I want the riff to be intense. And I want this section to come down. And the most intense thing here is this freaking open hi-hat. So I might want to see, yeah, see how much that just brings it down. So what I might do is I might do something like this. That's a foot close, and this is a hi-hat like this. So yeah. Let's try that. Let's see how and then maybe I'll just hint it. We're gonna go back to that by going here like this. Yeah. That's kind of nice. I like that. And then now we've got room for a new section. But listen to how this riff section just it's really intense, and then it goes into this drum section just by going off of that really intense hi-hat. So now I say let's write another section. And if we go back to the guitar here, this is all guitar, isn't it? If we go back over to this thing and we think about how we were just going, whatever we were doing. Well, if we go back to the iPad here, we got a lot more chords to work with. And we're only in natural minor right now. We could tinker with harmonic minor, melodic minor. Of course, we can mix and match. So this is our original thing that we did. And I will have to say that I was emphasizing E minor as the root note, even though we played this as a G chord. But for those of you who maybe are a little farther along in your music theory education, E minor and G major are relative major and relative minor. And if you are playing a bass note of an E minor and you play a G chord up here, it turns into a chord called an E minor 7 chord. So my rhythm part my rhythm part looked like I was playing A minor and G, but because I played that E as the bass note, that actually converted my G chord into a chord called an E minor 7. If that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. I don't know if I have time to explain that today, but this is the kind of thing I like to talk about on my Patreon, on my weekly live Q&A. So feel free to do a free trial and come ask me about that if you don't get what I'm talking about. So where do we want to go from here? I'm gonna get rid of these 2 chords to show. Okay, we've got A minor, we got B diminished, we got C major, D minor, E minor, F, and G. And we've also got, if we want to sneak over to harmonic minor or melodic minor, that basically gives us the option of 2 extra notes, which is crazy. I'll put them in blue so you can see. So essentially what harmonic and melodic minor do for us is they give us the opportunity to play 2 extra chords, a D chord and an E chord. If we turn them into 7th chords, D7, E7. What the heck do we do with this? How do we make a chord progression? Well, let's tinker with it. So if we currently have something like this going on, we could go I don't know. That was kind of cool. That was an F chord, and then we went to a D chord, and then we went to back to an F, and then went to a A minor. That's kind of cool. I like that. So if we go F, I'm playing an F major 7, but I like that by itself. I don't have a cool voicing for it yet, but I'm just gonna record that because I have a hunch that that's gonna sound kind of cool. Wow, this is why I don't like floor stands very much. They fall apart. If there's a good floor stand company out there that wants to sponsor me, but let's see. So F. Let's go to our rhythm guitar here. What do we have? I kind of like that. I'm gonna play it and then I'll explain it a little better because it's kind of fun. Yeah. We'll see how that works. So, why did I do that? Basically, let's pop back over to this guy over here. So, F chord. That is the 6th chord in the key of A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I played the 7 chord version of it, which is F, A, C, E. 7 chords, you just add every other. You start on a note of the scale, and then you play every other note till you get 4 notes. And that gives you the right 7 chord for that key. So I played F major 7, and then I played a D chord, then I played another F chord, and then I played A minor. And I think that was nice. And I think I could play a bass line that could be very simple and maybe driving, and that might do something cool here. I have a hunch what I want to do on bass is go... I almost want to do a sneaky thing where I'm playing the root note of the F chord, and then I want to play the root note of the D chord, and it's an F sharp major, which is kind of weird, and then I want to go up to an A, which is going to be the fifth of the A chord, which gives you this kind of cool, weird sound. And then it goes back to an A minor chord over that A root note. Maybe it won't work, but let's see. But I have a hunch it'll be nice and rumbly and fun. It'll be fun to play at least. Let's see what happens here. Let's see. Unless I want to go. No, I think that's pretty sick. Let's try it. Nah. So I don't like any of that. And I think part of the reason is maybe it doesn't need to be driving like that. Maybe it needs to go I don't know, maybe it needs to have a little more space in it like that. Let's try that. I don't know. I'm gonna search for a bit. I don't know. I mean, here's the trick with writing things that go together well is I feel like we just double timed this whole section, and so I think it would sound good to do that thing. Uh-oh. Let's see if that works. So here's the thing. I think that's interesting. Ooh, someone told me there's a spider crawling on the wall behind me. Yikes. Where'd it go? Uh-oh. Hopefully it's not on me. That would suck. Okay, let's see. So this might be nice by itself. But I don't know if it's gonna be great going back to the riff, and here's why. Maybe. I guess that's kind of cool. I guess that's kind of cool. I'm gonna do a little thing here. Someone made me nervous with the spider, but is it a tiny spider? I see something. I'm not too worried about it, really. But I definitely don't like spiders. I guess I do like it. I was not super stoked initially. I was worried that this section felt a little too busy, too big compared to these other sections, but it's actually kind of a relief when it goes back to the riff, so I accept. I'll allow it. But I am gonna probably do some sneaky stuff here real quick to just make it sound a little better. I've got a little problem. I actually like the bass without that bass amp now. I had to hit a limiter on that bass, which I don't like to do, but it was now it sounds better, so let's see. Okay, that's kind of fun. So, now, Alex, if you're still around, do you feel like this is helping answer your question about how do I start with a riff and then kind of end up with a song? Now we got two things going on. Thing one is I'm just gonna hope that my neighbor's not around, so that I can make a little louder noise with my voice, although I may not sing very loud anyway. But let's just sort of get a sense of how do we write a melody to this? And maybe I could start on guitar. Yeah, that's a good idea. So, first thing you gotta do when you're writing a melody is know your vocal range. Because, just like, think of it this way. A guitar, hang on a sec here. Your guitar has a range. You can't go higher than here, and you can't go lower than here without tuning your guitar down. So your voice is kind of similar. For example, C, I can sing a C, I can sing A, but then when I try to sing G, it's getting harder. I can't sing an F. So G is about the lowest note I can sing. If I'm warmed up, maybe I can sing it a little better, but C is a much more comfortable note, and then I can go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I can sing a C here too, and then I have kind of a yell range where if I D and then E, I'm not gonna yell. I'm gonna try to keep it chill for this one, but so my goal here is to write a melody that fits my voice. Your voice might be different. A lot of people think they can't sing when the truth is they just don't know their vocal range and they keep trying to sing stuff that's too low or too high for their voice. So let's scoot over to the camera guitar here. And, what am I doing? I forgot. What I'm trying to do here is, I'm trying to find a melody, and I'm gonna write a melody sort of backwards from how we wrote that riff, where remember how we were like 30 minutes ago when we were I was talking about how most of the notes of the riff end up in in an A minor chord. So now we can go backwards and we can write a melody using notes from an A minor chord as sort of our starting and ending points here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a fresh scale here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And here's our A minor chord. So if I just loop this verse for a second here and go like this. So here's my lowest singing note. Here's an E, here's an A, here's a C. So maybe I want to save some of my higher notes for a chorus, because choruses usually use your higher range. Not always, but usually. So maybe I'll make a melody. The idea is to start on a chord tone, meaning whatever chord is happening, sing one of those notes, and then either jump to another chord tone. So I could go A, E, E, or I can walk down. I can go A, G, F, E, A, G, F, E, D, E. You see what I'm saying? We want to be emphasizing, this is what it means to target chord tones or to accent chord tones. It means start your phrase on one of those tones and either jump to the other ones or walk to them. And the cool thing is you can use the pentatonic scale to walk between them, which I think sounds a little better. And then we'll make some phrases. And just like last time where we were going A, B, A, something, we're going to come up with some phrases, and then we'll see if we want to repeat some of them identically or if we want to repeat them with some changes. Watch my phrasing video if you want to get a sense of how that works. So let's see. A, E, D, E. That's a phrase. A, E, D, E, A, G, A. That's kind of cool. A, G, G, A, E. That's a nice phrase. E, C, B, C, D, E. That's a nice B phrase, or just different phrase. E, C, B, C, D, E. And you see how I did the same kind of thing. I started on a chord tone, and then I jumped to another chord tone, and then if I'm going to wiggle around, I'm still going to kind of try to wander my way back to end on a chord tone. So I think I like these phrases already. I'm gonna try to play them the way that I'm going to sing them roughly here. So we got A, D, G, E, C, B, C, D, E. That's kind of cool. A, D, E, G, A, E, C, B, C, D, E. So that's a nice A and B phrase. I like it. So from here, we can go, you know, do we want to stick with our sort of A, B, A, C kind of thing, or do we want to go A, B, C, C, where we could do that, where we go A, and then we go B, ba-dum, bo-da-da, and then we could go bo-da-da-da, that would be A, B, C, C. I like that. I'm gonna try it out. Let's see how that sounds. So we got A, D, A, E. Then we got E, C, B, C, D, E. And then what would I do? C, A, B, C, B, A, C, A, B, C, I can't sing the notes at the same time, obviously. But, and the other problem here, well, maybe problem for you, not for me, is that I'm already playing telephone a little bit with what I've written, and that's okay. Sometimes when you're writing, it's really easy to get hung up on, what did I just do? How do I recreate what I just did exactly? When sometimes it's okay to hold things a little more loosely and let them sort of morph, because in my mind, if I can't remember what I just did, it means maybe it wasn't actually that catchy, you know? Catchy? So I'm gonna try to record what I just did, and maybe I'll set up a nice little vocal sound instead of just boring. Here is a vocal sound. It's a little quieter than my speaking voice. I'm gonna roll off a little low end. Check, heck. And maybe I'm gonna try to get a little high end in here, or something like this. Check the mic. That's nice. Okay. And then I'm gonna hit it with a nice compressor, fast attack, fast release, full knee. Da 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 na 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 na. And then I think na 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 na. Give it a little more gas. Na na. Ba-da-da-da. And then the most kind of, if we don't have any reverb or fun effects, then, you know, what's even the point of singing? So I am going to throw a little reverb on here. Let's do some fun reverb. Yeah, there's no reverb yet. Check. Whoa. That's let's pick a crazy room here. I want a medium. Well, let's do medium. This says nice hall. Na 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 na. It's not that nice. We could do better. I want a large. Let's go all out. Let's do this. What is this called? Big chamber. Na 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 na. I'm gonna actually EQ the reverb, and I think this might be nice. There we go. I'm in a big room. Here we go. Let's see if we can do this. I know it's been a long way. I know I can't hide it. Obligatory BS lyrics. I'm gonna just mess around here for a second. And BS, these are made up words. I know there's no spider. I know it's not the way to go. Little sloppy. I know it's not the way to go. I know there's no spider here. You lied in the comments. I guess it's gotta be the worst. I guess it's gotta be a verse. So, hang on a sec. Okay, so what I just did is called BS lyrics. I'll let you guess what BS stands for. The idea is you just come up with something to fill the space. And it doesn't have to be real. It's just, these are placeholder lyrics for when you're gonna want to go write real lyrics. A lot of times, songwriters, at least the ones I've worked with, they don't, what am I trying to say? They don't write the whole song in one go. They often will do a pass of BS lyrics. True S Armor says scrambled eggs. Yes, that was the original lyrics for yesterday. Exactly. Placeholder lyrics, and then you can sit in the park out of the studio and just kind of tinker. And the cool thing about these BS lyrics is, I know there's no spider here. It helps you remember the melody when you put fake lyrics like this. I know there's no spider here. Right? You lied in the comments. You lied in the comments about a spider. Rude. I'm on to you now. Yeah, so then, but this isn't the right way to do it. There are so many ways to do it. The idea here is, it's kind of like cooking. For those of you who cook, you've got your own way of making things, especially a meal that you've made like a million times, There's a certain way you go about making that meal. And if someone else made the same meal, they might make it a little differently, and that might bother you. It's like a workflow thing where you're like, well, no, after I use this pot, I wash it while the 2-minute timer is going for this other thing over here, and I've got like a system to it. Like, that is a workflow. And when it comes to writing songs, you kind of have to develop a workflow, almost like you're creating a factory that when you turn that factory on, like the process, that the belt falls off over here if you don't do the certain thing in this way, or the weight of this thing is what keeps this other thing going. Like, the more you practice just throwing stuff together like this, the better you get at figuring out where to go from here. But you got to start by writing music right now. And that's always my advice for anyone who says, hey, I've been playing guitar for a while and I want to start writing music. Well, first, get some music theory so you know what chords to play or what chords to choose from. Like, we've just been choosing from a set of chords. The chords in the key of A minor. Oh, that's the wrong thing, but we were looking at it earlier. And you just kind of start trying to write something. That's the idea. Kind of cool. So before I take a stab at the chorus here, I want to see if there's any other questions. I know there were a few unanswered questions earlier, so if you're here watching, feel free to throw a question in the mix, and I'll do my best to answer it quickly. So I'm scrolling back up to see what questions I missed earlier. Let's see. So Abao One says, when we look at the guitar fretboard, we think about the note names instead of do, re, mi. I'm thinking less about even the note names, although I think as G, A, B, C, whatever, I never think of do, re, mi. I don't like solfege very much. But I think in a similar way, which is this is the root of the chord, this is the 5 of the chord, this is the 9 of the chord. That kind of language is the way that I tend to think about things. So even above what note I'm playing, I'll think about how that note relates to the key and how it relates to the chord. So yeah. Let's see. What other questions do we have here? R. Barry says, I'm a rhythm player and tend to record the rhythm guitar first and the drums last. Do you have any advice on the recording order? So, in the recording studio, in my experience, if you're playing rock and roll music or even just any rhythm-based music like R&B kind of music, often what people will do is they'll either start by recording everything all together to a metronome, if they know the song really well, and then they'll use that recording as a scratch track for the drummer to play along with and really nail a perfect drum track, and then they'll layer everything on top of the drums. In my experience in professional recording studios, always record the drums first and then record everyone to the drums. You want the drums to be the tightest thing, and then think of it this way. If I'm listening to the drummer and getting my cues from the drummer, and then the bass player's listening to me to get their rhythm cues from me, and then the other rhythm guitar player's getting their rhythm cues from the bass player, you can see how that would create a lot of jankiness. If I'm a tiny bit off, then the bass player responds to me being a tiny bit off. Then the guitar player responds to the bass player being a tiny bit off. You want the drums to be the boss, the rhythm boss, and everyone is only listening to the drums for their rhythm cue. In other words, if I want to be perfectly in time with this song, I'm not even going to listen to the metronome. I'm going to listen to the drummer, and everyone else should be listening to the drummer and ignoring me. And in my experience, that's what gives you the best recordings. So R. Barry, if you play the rhythm guitar first, I would recommend giving yourself a rhythm guitar scratch track, then record some drums and really focus on getting those drums really, really solid. Then re-record your rhythm part to that drum part and then everything else on top of it. That's what I'd recommend. Yeah, so Neo Arch had a question. Huge fan of your teaching in music. Thanks to you, got all pentatonics under fingers and even linking them up. That's awesome. Now I am stuck at learning all other scales. What do you think I should do? Well, Neo, I would ask you, why are you learning all other scales? What's your goal? What do you want to do? Do you want to just be able to play all the scales? Because in my opinion, that's not making music. I'd start by writing some chord progressions, writing some riffs, and then when you get to a point where you go, there's a scale that I need to be able to do this, then learn that scale. And then if you go, keep writing music, keep jamming with people, and you go, there's a scale I need to be able to do this, then learn that scale. If you're learning stuff without putting it into a playground where you get to actually use it and have fun with it, you're going to hate guitar in like a year. So I'm really proud of you for getting all the pentatonics under your fingers. Now, go make music and start by trying to make stuff or jam with people. And then the things that you need to learn to do that better will come up as you get into it more and more. Jesse Lee says, favorite food? Oh, I don't know. It changes sometimes. I would say pizza, but I recently was diagnosed probably celiac, so not pizza anymore. I like sushi. Yeah, I just made a really nice shepherd's pie the other day. That was fun, with some turnips and parsnips and some rainbow chard. It was pretty nice. So let's see. Head of a cow photo says, do you have a good way to practice / learn inversions? Yes, I have a course on Patreon, my online school, where I've got hundreds of lessons and a weekly live Q&A and a weekly live lesson now as well. I have a course called Caged Basics. And the thing about inversions is inversions are voicings. And voicings are inversions. They're kind of the same thing. It's just that inversions are a little more specific. And when you're a guitar player, it's actually not really practical to learn like classical inversions. It's much more useful to learn guitar shapes. For example, here's what I'm talking about. So on guitar, inversions, and I could do this on the camera guitar, but I think the visual of this is a little more helpful. Here's a C chord, C, E, G. That's all you need, root, third, and fifth. First inversion is just third, fifth, root. And then second inversion is fifth, root, third. That's it. So here's C, here's first inversion, second inversion. But on guitar, it's much more practical to go, okay, here's all the sort of things I can do with a C shape. Here's all the things I can do with an A shape. Here's all the things I can do with a G shape. You know, I don't know. Here's an E shape. Like the how do I say this? Guitar. Okay, head of a cow. Think of it like this. Music theory on paper is pretty simple. But when you apply music theory to different instruments, for example, with your voice, you can only sing one note at a time. So there aren't, shapes, obviously. There's just notes that you're singing. When you're playing a trumpet, there's different fingers for different notes, but it's all single notes, right? Saxophone, different theory. You can play really fast on saxophone. There's like different instruments have different strengths and weaknesses and different approaches to how they engage with just the music theory facts, basically. And guitar is super weird because there are so many places to play basically the same thing. And so how do you talk about that? How do you get it in your brain? And to me, the caged system helps you understand how the guitar works and why chords are better spoken about with C shape, G shape than to say first inversion, second inversion, which I literally never think about unless someone asks me about it. So hopefully that gives you a sense. Martin Rock says, how do you make room for lyrics? Hopefully I just made a little sense of that for you right there. Yeah. Let's see. Esteban says, do you have any classes on fingerpicking to create something like Blackbird? Not specifically, but if you asked me in a live Q&A, I would happily do 15, 30 minutes on, how to write something like Blackbird. Very cool. Let's see. Almost there. Fact Finder says, how did you end up in a band? I was in a scholarship band in college, and then I moved 2 blocks away from another person that was in that band, and we started just kind of jamming, and we decided to just try writing songs in a funky soul kind of style, and then my band, Hot Bodies in Motion, just kind of took off from there, and we're actually about to put out some new music soon here. Kind of fun. So Akshay says, how to move guitar scratch to music production software to complete song. So how do you turn something like what I'm working on now into a complete song? Well, what I'm going to be doing here is writing the bare bones concept here, which is chords, riff, melody, and then basic lyrics from there. I'd probably want to actually play this with a band a few times, work out those transitions between sections, which can be something as simple as, oh, let's just not play that last strum, or let's play that last strum higher up so it blends into the next section a little bit better. But part of it just comes from, working with other people and sort of figuring out your preferences together. Yeah, so there's a handful of questions. Yeah. Great. It's fun. Okay. I'm almost there, and then I'm going to go back to writing here. Let's see. So Yen says, what are the major approaches to songwriting, and what is yours? Do you have a reason? I know some people play chords and then hum and then write lyrics from that. Other people write and then chords. So the way I think about it is this. There are lyric-focused people who will just be writing notes of lyrical ideas all day in their heads, and then the writing the music part is almost like a necessary aspect of songwriting that is the vehicle for their lyrics. And then there's people like me who I love writing the music part. Sometimes I skip the lyric writing part altogether, and I'll write melodies all day and bass lines and stuff. And part of the reason why those are different approaches is because people value different things, and most of the good songwriters just do it because they love it. And so that's part of the reason why I'm in a band is I don't feel like I need to write the lyrics. I'm going to let my friend Ben write the lyrics, and then I'll write whatever else needs to be written. And, there are as many different approaches to songwriting as there are people. Some people will start with a melody, and then they'll try to find chords for it. I personally think that melodies are a game of arranging. And if you can come up with a nice little phrase like we've just been doing here, you can arrange it into something very interesting. And for me, it's really fun to sort of create a music bed with drums and bass and guitar to make that melody, to make a melody that like fits that music bed really nicely. And that's a really fun challenge for me. So that's why that's my approach, because I just love doing that. Yeah. Let's see. So I'm going to answer a few more questions, then I'm going to get going. Super Savage God says, can you make a reggae rock alternative song next? I tend to just write mostly whatever style happens. It's more fun for me to just see what happens than to try to chase a specific genre. So probably not, because I don't really listen to a lot of reggae. But we'll see what happens. Cyanide says, Logic doesn't have a smart drummer like GarageBand does. It does. I just like writing my own drum beats. It's more fun for me. Let's see. Keith says, what's the best way to internalize rhythm besides simply play with a metronome? I talked about that earlier, but I could dive into that way deeper on my Patreon if you wanted to. Just join even a 7-day free trial. Ask me on the next live Q&A Thursdays at 10 a.m. and I could dive really deep into that for you. Yeah, let's see. Okay. I think I'm going to go back to writing here. So let's see where we left off. What do we have here? Let's watch. And I'm going to mute myself so I can take a drink of water. So I got a little melody idea. I might just put it in there. Okay, let's try this. What's the right button here? Comment more questions to me. Comment more questions, I guess. Comment more questions to me. Comment your questions. I like that. Comment your questions to me. Comment your questions. Comment your questions to me. Comment your questions. So, that's kind of fun. Here we go. So, let's see. That's a nice A-B phrase. But it needs a little more. Comment. And that was a bad take. This is a better take right here, I think. Comment your questions to me. Comment your questions. So, that's a simple A and B phrase. And the reason it's an A and a B phrase is because they're so similar, but the second one ends earlier. The first one is, comment your questions to me. That's a 7 little note phrase. And then the first one is, comment your questions. And when you end a phrase early like that, you don't go through the whole phrase. It kind of feels like a new phrase. So what I might try to do here is comment. This one, the verse has an AABC. So maybe I'll do my AB, either ABAC or ABACC or something in the chorus, which feels like a nice chorus here. So my A phrase is, comment your questions to me. And then the second phrase, the B phrase, comment your questions. And then what do? So I'm going to record that. And then I'll show you visually the space that I'm missing here. So this from this little block here is, comment your questions to me. Comment your questions. And then comment your questions to me. Na 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 na. I want to end it with a totally different phrase here. So let me see what I can do here. Check. I think we're close here. And then we're almost there. So comment your questions to me. Comment your questions. Comment your questions to me. Comment your questions. I don't know. My voice is a little shaky. I need a little more water. Also, it's pretty late here. I doubt anyone's next door. I'm gonna give it a little more gas. Comment. I got a catch in my throat. Comment your comment. Takes a lot of juice. So actually here. Well, I'll sing it first. Comment. I got it now. Here we go. I don't know. God. Okay, so to be honest, whoa, wrong button. Sorry, my bad. To be honest, I'm not loving that. But it does the job. And sometimes when you're writing a song, you can almost just go, yeah, this does the job for now. It gets the point across, but I'm not in love with it, to be honest. And I could keep tinkering with it, especially this thing right here. Comment your questions to me. But as a whole piece, it works. And the cool thing is, this is gonna go into the riff really nicely. So let's hear how this sounds. Comment your questions to me. And it's nice. You lie in the comments. I just want to hear the whole thing. It's gotta be the worst. I guess it's gotta be a verse. Comment your questions to me. Works. Comment your questions to me. Comment them. Comment your questions to me. There you go. That's kind of nice. It's kind of fun. I don't know. This is exercise. This is practice. This is tinkering. I've been doing it for a long time, so it can sometimes turn into a whole song, or at least what is this, intro, verse, chorus, which is almost all you need to write a song. But I want to stress that it takes practice to I guess for this process to feel natural, which is why I brought up the whole workflow thing earlier. It just takes a while to get into that. Yeah. But I think I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to call it a day, because I've been going for almost 2 hours, coming up on 2 hours here. So I think I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then I probably won't answer this many questions in the future. But I probably will do more writing things like this. But it was kind of fun. Let's see here. So Arturo, whoa, I spit, Arturo, sorry, says, hey, beginner in recording, what would you recommend as an interface for connecting guitar and voice to a computer? Well, there's great Scarlett interfaces by Focusrite. I also have, I have one hanging out here. Let me see. Aha. I got this one too. This is a PreSonus. I never know how to say their name, but they're this is a decent one too for just getting started. This thing is not very expensive. You got your mic input, channel 1, instrument input, channel 2. You've got phantom power for your condenser mics. This is how you set your gain. This is how you listen directly to the microphone if you don't have a really nice computer and you can't set the buffer to super low. And you can hook it up to some speakers here. It's pretty nice. And that's the, what is that called? The audio box one. There you go. Yeah, that one's fine. I1. But Arturo, it doesn't super matter because they're all pretty great. It's really just which one works best for your workflow. Cyanide 2020 says, Scott, do you often stay in key or do you work modulation into your songwriting workflow? I don't do much modulation. I like to stay in a key. It's fun for me. Yeah, kind of interesting. I haven't named this song yet. What should I call the song? Yeah. Anurag Sharma says, can we add counter rhythm or melody to this? We could. It'd probably be kind of fun, but I'm tired and it's almost 8 o'clock where I'm at right now. And I want to go home and see my dog. This portrait back here is of Betty, my dog, who might join me in the next stream if you're nice. Cool. So, let's call it a day, shall we? This has been a fun adventure in songwriting. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I hope you learned something. I hope you had fun. And yeah, let's see. Arya, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but yeah, we could call this song The Spider because someone was either lying to me or to freak me out, or they really saw a spider on my back wall. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Dog Person is a great band name, by the way. If someone hasn't already taken that, someone needs to start a band called Dog Person or Dog People. Okay, everybody. I don't see any other questions unless I missed one earlier. Are there any fun questions back there? No? Yeah? No? Internet T says, any songwriting challenges to improve or break out of writer's block, like sticking to a certain theme or topic or something? I think actually I just did my, 70th songwriting challenge. Every 2 weeks on my Patreon, we have a songwriting challenge where it's not even a song, it's just a music writing challenge where last week it was easy. Just write something in B minor. Sometimes it's write something sad, write something in a mode. And often when you have less pressure, when the goal is to just write something and not write a whole song, that can get you out of writer's block too. I always encourage people to not actually write a whole song because you're never going to sit down and write if your goal is to write a whole song every time. Yeah. So Randy says, what do you think is the best way to learn intervals on the fretboard? Is it just learning patterns off the root note? Randy, I think learning intervals, in my opinion, should be couched in learning chords. Because I personally don't see the value in divorcing intervals from keys and chords where you're going to be using them. All the music you play is going to be in a key. You're going to be playing chords, whether you're actually playing them or soloing over them. And to me, it's I don't think about intervals as much as I think about, I don't usually think about like a ninth interval or a major seventh interval, but I think about a major seven chord, and I think about the shape of that on the guitar, I guess. But it's all should be in a key, in a playground where you're actually making music, and not a separate thing that isn't connected to some kind of jam track or jam session or songwriting or playing a song. To me, learning music theory divorced from actually making music makes no sense to me. So I don't think about intervals on their own. I think about them in the context of a chord or a key, personally. Yeah. Let's see. How do you get a band name? True S Armor? You just come up with something that is fun. That's it. And sometimes it's 2 words, sometimes it's just the bats just feels right, or light bulb, or sometimes just ordinary words can sound kind of funny or fun as a band name. Like my band, Hot Bodies in Motion, which you can find us on Spotify. Sometimes, like that came up because someone took what is it called when you take a picture every couple seconds? You know what I'm talking about. And then you play it and it's like super fast. I don't know why I forgot the word for that, but someone took one of those at a party and the windows got all steamy, and as it got dark outside, and someone in my band was like, that's a lot of hot bodies in motion, because it was a dance party. And we kind of went, Hot Bodies in Motion. That sounds like a fun band name. That's great. Cool. I think, all right, I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. It's been a fun one. See you next time. Happy New Year, happy holidays, etc. Bye.